we're going to explore how to detect if a web page has been reloaded or refreshed using JavaScript. There isn't a single perfect method, but we can use a combination of techniques to get a reliable indication. The core idea is to store a value in the browser's storage, like session storage, when the page initially loads, and then check if that value exists on subsequent loads. If it doesn't, we can reasonably assume the page was reloaded or refreshed. 1. Using session storage. Session storage is a browser storage mechanism that persists only for the duration of a single browser session. This means the data is cleared when the user closes the tab or window. We can leverage this to check for refreshes. We'll create a variable, let's call it page reload check, and set it to a unique value, like a timestamp, when the page first loads. If the page reloads, this variable will be undefined, allowing us to detect the refresh. 2. Implementing the check. To implement this, we first check if session storage.getItem page reload check returns a value. If it does, it means the page has already loaded at least once within the current session. If it returns null, it's the initial page load. We'll then set the page reload check value using session storage.setItem page reload check new date get time. Now, on subsequent loads, we'll check again. If it's still there, the page hasn't been refreshed. If it's not there, that is, the session storage item has been cleared, it signifies a page refresh or reload. 3. Handling the result. Based on whether session storage.getItem page reload check returns a value or null, we can execute different blocks of code. For instance, if the page was reloaded, we could display a message to the user or perform a specific action. Remember that this method relies on the user not clearing their session storage manually. In a real-world scenario, you might want more sophisticated error handling, but it's important to understand the core concept first. 4. Alternative approach, less reliable. Using write single quote performance.navigation.type. The browser's performance API provides some information about the navigation event. Write single quote performance.navigation.type. Write single quote can have different values indicating how the page was loaded. 0 indicates a normal load, 1 a reload, and 2 a back-forward navigation. While useful in some circumstances, relying solely on this method isn't fully reliable for detecting refreshes, because navigating back and forth can also trigger the reload value, potentially misleading our logic. Therefore, while this approach provides additional context, the session storage approach is generally more reliable for pure refresh detection. 5. Putting it all together, the complete JavaScript code, combining the advantages of both techniques for a more robust solution, would be to prioritize session storage for detecting refreshes, and to use write single quote performance.navigation.type, write single quote to provide further detail on the type of navigation event, helpful for logging or debugging. We can combine these methods to provide context on whether it's a refresh, back forward, or initial load. For example, we can show the user a message indicating whether the page was loaded for the first time or refreshed. In summary, using session storage to track initial page loads offers a reliable method for detecting page refreshes in JavaScript, even though it's not foolproof against all scenarios. Combining this with write single quote performance.navigation.type, write single quote provides valuable supplementary information. Remember that these techniques rely on browser behavior and may have limitations in some specific circumstances, but they represent effective ways to detect page reloads in most common user interactions.